Hey you guys, I just want to make a video about relationships and staying in them too fucking long, which is I think what people tend to do. And this is inspired by me not having a complete answer to, I'm imagining myself out on a date with some guy and he's saying, "So Shahrzad, what happened to your marriage?" And I don't have a clean answer. I don't. But looking back on it, I can say that I was with someone who loved me but was unavailable. So, a few things I've learned. Let me look at what I've learned. I've learned that love isn't enough. There are people who can love me and wait but they can still be unavailable. So it's not really love. They can love me. They're not mean to me. They're paying for things and they're nice and they're helping around the house, like they're doing stuff, but they're unavailable emotionally, let's say, because of their own limitations. I imagine other people could be in a relationship with someone who loves them but is maybe really controlling or lacks courage or lacks some other skill set. So the first thing I've learned is that love is not enough. Another thing I've learned is to not hang on to the ideology of marriage or relationship as, "Oh, I'm such a good person for being in this relationship. Ooh, I finally have a relationship. Oh, I'm such a good person because I've been married so long." Or, we have all this history together. Those are all ideologies and thoughts that can keep people trapped out of even considering another option. Another thing I learned is that I'm much more powerful than I realized. When I was married, I thought, well, could I support myself? I know my life is good, but I think it's good because of him. I gave him too much credit. I didn't realize my own power. And then today, as I was thinking about it, an additional thing that I realized is that no matter who lives with me, anyone who lives with me has to totally make my life better. If the person living with me causes me to experience negative emotions through the way that they're treating me, that person has to go. Now, I could be experiencing negative emotions such as anger, sadness, hopelessness, fear, these negative emotions. And so it's good to say, well, are these negative emotions in me, or is this person activating them because they're acting in a way that's harmful to me or neglectful of me? And those are the times to get individual counseling or couples counseling. And if the same problem keeps presenting and there is no movement forward, and I want to move forward and get a resolution, work things out, and the other person doesn't have that same investment or commitment, get the hell out. Get the hell out. Now, in my particular case, at the end of my marriage, I was getting counseling help, but they didn't give me the right advice. They didn't tell me how to deal with my feelings. And one of the intake therapists, you have to read my book, at Kaiser, actually told me that I should stay with my husband because sex wasn't that important. And he was sexually very neglectful of me. Sexually and romantically, he was neglectful. I'm going to call it abusive. He didn't know he was abusive. I didn't know he was abusive, but it was emotionally abusive and neglectful. I'm going to take the ownership that I chose to stay because of all these fucking blind spots I had. And that's what I'm sharing with you, these blind spots, because I kept thinking that things would get better because he loved me. And he told me he didn't want a divorce. And he told me it's okay to need people. And so that's another thing, is to watch the person's actions, not their words. Because sometimes people lie. Now, he didn't lie. He really meant all those things, but none of those things gave me what I ultimately wanted. And I thought, well, he doesn't want a divorce, so obviously that must mean he's going to try to work on stuff. It didn't. Or he would say, sex is only physical, Shahrzad. And I would think, oh, he's just saying that. He doesn't possibly mean that. So I wasn't really listening. I wasn't listening to his words. I didn't ask for clarification, and I didn't listen to his actions. One thing I would always say at home, like when the kids would fight, which they did sometimes, but not a lot. I did some stuff well with my kids. I did some stuff really bad. But one of the things I did well is that they each felt important in their place in the family, so they didn't have this competition. But sometimes they would fight. And I would say, we're not fighting in this house. Our home is a safe place. It's a refuge from the world. We are safe together at home. But what I failed to realize, and that's why I'm making this video, to show you that you have that right and I have that right to feel loved and safe and happy with all the people in our home. Not just the kids together and the kids and me, but my partner. If my partner is causing me pain and is not concerned that they're causing me pain, instead is going, oh my God, now you're crying again over me. I just can't deal with this. It's too overwhelming. I have to get away. That's a fucking red flag. That is, get the hell out of there. Because I think we stay because we think the person's going to change, but they fucking don't change. It's very, very rare for people to change. And if they do change, it's only in response to some deep pain, like you left them. That's a wake-up call. Or they almost died. That could be a wake-up call. Like something tragic has to happen in their life. People otherwise don't change. There is no badge of honor for staying with someone that isn't treating you right for the sake of the kids. So the kids can see a dysfunctional relationship. One more thing I want to say. I really want to make YouTube videos about the stupid lockdown and the mask mandate because it's all BS. You know, I have a family, but YouTube will delete my channel or my videos, or could even delete my channel if I talk about it, because we're not allowed to have discourse and ask questions. If you watch Del Bigtree, it's called thehighwire.com. I think it's called The Highwire. You guys might want to check out his videos. He has a lot of good science on there. I used to watch him on YouTube, but YouTube took him down. The name is The Highwire, thehighwire.com. He has a video every Thursday. Now, the states that have well, let me tell you, I have a family member who works in a facility where everyone is vaccinated, but people are still testing positive for COVID. So the vaccines don't keep you from testing positive. They still all have to wear masks and social distance. So first of all, the masks and the social distancing don't work. The vaccine doesn't work. So what does work? Just letting people go around without all the stuff like they're doing in Florida, where the case count started dropping in January already. You watch the report and look at the graphs that you could find it somewhere online. And they're going to say it's the vaccine. I'm not getting that vaccine. By the way, the surgical masks are not meant to prevent airborne particles at all. They're too porous. They're meant to prevent blood splatters. And now we have science showing that the fibers and the masks are harmful to the lungs because they're small, the size of asbestos fibers, and they get lodged in the lungs. And there are also all these masks now found in the oceans. I think this whole thing has to do with money. I think that the pharmaceutical companies are way too fucking powerful, and the media companies. Do you know all the media company? All of the media is owned by 6 corporations. They want you to get vaccines and buy medication because they want to make money. They don't give a shit about you as a person. And anyone questioning there is no place we can actually discuss and present alternate views and get other information because it's all about the money. So, the media companies, including YouTube, Twitter, I get shadow banned on Twitter posting about coronavirus and the lockdown, but I want you guys to know it's all BS. And I'm just inviting people, let's just fucking think for ourselves. When did it become a crime to think for ourselves and to ask questions? There's a professor at New York University who is in trouble with his peers because in his class, he started encouraging a dialogue about masks. Oh no, that's considered poisoning the minds of the young. But infiltrating and indoctrinating them in information while they're sitting in a classroom isn't. I had a client the other day who told me he had ADHD. I saw no signs of ADHD in this guy. I said, why do you think you have ADHD? You're very calm, you're very relaxed talking to me. Well, when I was in elementary school, I couldn't sit still. I said, that's because you're a normal kid. You're not supposed to want to sit still. You have to be like a fucking robot as a child to want to sit still in a classroom for all these hours and listen to these teachers indoctrinating you with information. That is not normal. That is not healthy. There's a lot wrong with our schools. That's why I like Montessori. Kids are supposed to be able to ask questions. We're supposed to use our critical minds to think and ask questions. Now, I don't like all this Trump stuff that's all hatred and spewing and all that. I'm not talking about that kind of, rebelliousness, if you want to call it. I'm talking about just asking questions. We're not even allowed to ask questions on YouTube or Twitter. It's kind of embedding this at the end of my video, but I think they have a thing where they listen to the words in the videos. So this video may not even ever show up. It might get hidden somewhere, I don't know, because they do not want a discourse on that vaccines aren't needed or that the lockdown isn't needed. I don't really know who benefits from the lockdown besides Amazon, the media companies, because everybody's at home on the internet now. The real estate companies aren't benefiting. The travel companies aren't benefiting. I don't think the banks are benefiting. For sure, the pharmaceutical industry is benefiting, and the media companies. So they could be the ones driving it. I don't know if there's a sinister motive to isolate people for good, or if this was a virus that escaped. That, to me, I don't really want to go into that direction because I'll never figure it out, and that doesn't move me forward. What does move me forward is asking questions about the data and why we're locked down and why we're wearing masks. And what I'm encouraging you guys to do is to think for yourself. Everybody's running along like sheeple, walking around with stupid masks. Like, fuck that. So ridiculous. I saw a guy today walking around with a mask. I almost yelled out at him, your mask doesn't work. But I'm like, okay, Shahrzad, that is rude. Do not be rude. This guy full of tattoos walking along with a mask. Like, that mask does not go with the fucking tattoos. Anyway, let's get back on the topic. So what I wanted to say, what I learned from my relationship that ended, where I still had so many bad feelings, I just felt like I was so wronged, and I have to take responsibility. That's how I'm going to get some freedom from it. Now, this is what I learned. One, love is not enough. So someone can love you and give you great sex and give you great orgasms, but they could be controlling and mean and hit you. Or in my case, they could be loving outside the bedroom, but in the bedroom they're negligent. They use you just to get off and they don't care how you feel. Someone can love you but be emotionally avoidant because your emotions feel overwhelming to them, or they're too clingy. They love you but they're clingy. So love is not enough. That's the first thing I want you guys to get. Love is not enough. Look at how is this person's presence making my life better or worse? Is this person causing me joy or pain? And every relationship does cause occasional pain. There are challenges. How does this person deal with the challenges in the relationship? Are they leaning in because they want to work on it and fix it? They care how I feel and they care about the relationship. Or are they like, I don't want to deal with it. I'm fine over here. If you have a problem, that's on you. And then that is just aggravating a wound. And if that's happening, why are you staying? What's your story? What's your fear? What's your story? You think you're a good person for staying? You think you can't make it without this person? Those are all lies. In my opinion, question everything, question me, question everything. But I think, so in hindsight, I'd have to say that my mistake was having some blind spots and thinking that not knowing love isn't enough, not realizing that the person in my relationship ought to be bringing me joy, and to the extent that he's not, he should care about the pain he's causing me and not think it's too difficult. I was okay with him causing me pain and not giving a shit. I was okay with that. I couldn't see that that was wrong. He didn't mean to hurt me, but he just couldn't give me what a woman needs from a man. He just couldn't. And I was okay with that. I was okay with that. I couldn't fucking see that it wasn't okay. I have to say that the thing that's confusing to me is 3 years before I left him, I did realize it wasn't okay because he did something that was really mean. Like he started sleeping on the sofa. And I'm like, this isn't okay. I didn't get off these pills to be with a guy who's sleeping on the sofa and doesn't want to work on anything. But because he was always nice, I failed to see when he didn't do certain things that a man should do. I didn't perceive it as bad. It wasn't until he finally spoke to me in this very contemptuous tone 3 years later that I was like, this isn't okay. So what I didn't realize was that I allowed things because they weren't obviously angry or dismissive or contemptuous. There were no obvious signs. It was more about what I didn't have. And so my brain didn't perceive it as something is wrong here, I need to leave. I didn't perceive it as something is wrong here, I need to leave, because he wasn't doing anything outwardly that would make me go, I got to get out of here. He wasn't cheating on me. He wasn't hitting me. He wasn't yelling at me. He wasn't putting me down. Those are things I would never put up with. But there were things I did put up with that to me didn't register as red flags. Get the hell out of here. And I think we all have different red flags. Like some people are easily controlled. They don't realize they're being controlled, or that they're being, for other women, they're being hit and they think that's okay. I think we have these tolerances of what we're willing to put up with because we don't see it's wrong. Whereas other things we would never put up with. Like I would never date an alcoholic or a smoker, but I've fallen for guys who were emotionally unavailable. Like that to me never seemed wrong. That always was okay. So where is the blind spot you might have about something you're putting up with, I guess, is something you could get out of this video. Where's the blind spot you have in your relationship where you're like, I'm putting up with something. And that doesn't mean you have to leave. I think, in my opinion, the best thing to do is just be aware of it and talk to the partner and go, this area, this thing in the relationship is just not working. I really, really want to delve into this. And a worthwhile partner is going to care. That's what I want to say. A worthwhile partner is supposed to care how we feel, and we are supposed to care how they feel. And if we don't, why are we in this relationship? Then it's just causing pain. And I think a lot of people are in relationships that are causing them pain. I have seen my friends go in and out of relationships in the 8 years I've been single. And I used to think, ooh, they must have something down that I don't because they're getting a relationship and I don't. But then their relationship was shit. And now they're single again. I just haven't bothered to get into one of those. I am not going to just date anybody. The next time I'm in a relationship, it's going to be a good one. I don't want to date until it's like everything's really good. And to the idiot who's like, ooh, who's going to date you because you're an escort? A lot of people would love to date me. A lot of people would love to date me. Because I'm an escort, because I'm not an escort, it doesn't even fucking matter. I'm a worthwhile human being, and I'm empowered, and I don't follow stupid fucking ideologies that make no fucking sense. I'm a free thinker, I'm a powerful woman, and any man who's jealous of my ability to get sex isn't man enough for me. Is not man enough for me. So the guy leaving the comment is not man enough for me. I can't be with someone who's such a small thinker and who's so jealous and who isn't even interested in me. That would be a red flag, to be interested in a guy who is not interested in me, or who thinks less of me because of my profession, or who's repulsed by me. Like, why would I want that in the first place? Yes, there are plenty of men. And by the way, I just want to throw this out. Did you know that half of all escorts are in relationships, married or not married? The same as the general population. You could say, why would anyone want to marry a Marine who's deployed half the fucking time? Why would anyone want to marry an old guy who's just going to get sick and die soon? People fall in love based on factors beyond their looks, their profession, or whatever. Anyway, I'm going to end this video. Thank you for watching.